All right, so putting aside chess for a second, because I'm tired. I just worked the whole day. Let's just ignore that and stuff. That was. Oh, I need some energy. Been doing stuff for what, 15 hours now. I'm a little tired. So, um, yeah, there's a few things they don't tell you about character change and development and stuff. How people approach character development has been pretty weird. Either they just change their appearance, they lose weight, or they go on GLP-1 or whatever and stuff. It doesn't do much for the quality of their personality. They usually find themselves in a different kind of shitty situation because they're still like the same stupid or mean or just generally garbage person that they were before. Um, or they might go on different psychoactive medications, not realizing that that's not really supposed to be a long-term solution for many people. You know, um, so yeah. But I've changed character many times in my life, and I could teach you, I could tell you some things that people don't really talk about when it comes to character development. The physiognomy books go into it pretty well and stuff, but yeah. Um, Character does nothing without skills, knowledge, training, chemicals, and spirit, and those are as good as any gold, silver, gasoline, whatever you can call precious. And I'll go into that more. Um, if you want a part of yourself to work better, you have to use it regularly, then rest it so it can't be stopped. Okay? Self-utilization of the right parts of yourself is key to developing and maturing in a good direction and stuff. All of that commercial, political stuff, it's bullshit. Okay? Um, at a certain reduction in mental capacity, guiding your character development becomes impossible. The fops, meaning the dandies and stuff, people that, just always care about how they look and putting on a performance and, you know, are like super emotional about everything and try to like take over everything when they don't know what they're doing and go with the first idea at the top of their head, blah, blah, blah. You know, um, they never develop any permanent character because they're always grabbing at air. They don't understand shit. They don't. Their brain works fast, but it's a lot of junk moving quickly and stuff. Like, it's just stupid thoughts going faster, basically. Comforting entertainment, warm showers, heavy eating, chronic self-pleasuring behaviors, being sedentary and oversleeping lead to immaturity, emotional illness, malicious behavior, um, and such will reduce the intelligence. These things make you taken from life. Okay? But masochism debilitates a person and breeds agony like an emotional mold in their psyche. Very undermining things. But you still need to grind it out to get tough enough to handle the worst. You understand? Life only gives itself to the thick-skinned, the people with stamina and stuff, the people with fight in them, the hard-nosed people, you know, the people who have a strong heart, um, the resilient types, the persistent types, the competitive types, people with some teeth. What they don't tell you about a highly developed heart is that is too developed for the brain is that it causes scattering of the thoughts, loss of cognitive control, and disrupts focus by constantly thumping on the nerves leading to the brain. But when the brain is more dominant, it gets a lot of fuel to work with. It can make larger thought processes move faster. A strong heart helps make you good with your external senses and is part of the body's furnace and stuff. So to talk about that and stuff, everything from like, I guess, here to about here is your body's furnace and stuff. This is like your steam engine of your body and stuff. This is your gas tank. Your stomach's your gas tank. This is where the fuel goes in, right? This is your furnace and stuff. But don't get caught up on that and stuff too much, because your body is making energy in all of your cells in the form of ATP and other different natural glucose that your body makes and stuff that um, that boosts your energy levels and stuff. Your certain hormones can be considered as energizers and stuff, like testosterone and stuff. That's definitely an energizer. Estrogen and stuff for women is an energizer and stuff. It puts energy into the muscles. So and it also makes the bones strong too. But that's not really an energizing thing. But yeah, so there's that. So like this is like you can think of this as like your most central main furnace and stuff. So the old, this is why I guess this is why the old physiognomy got shelved and discredited for a large part, is because they kind of simplified everything down and they didn't really understand cell theory and biology and biochemistry and stuff like that. Um, and I think the reason why that was because they were trying to look for um, it, you know, uh, I don't know, maybe actionable data or stuff, or you know, the, but I don't want to say that. Like, I want to say like they were looking for um, I mean, they were definitely trying to create some knowledge for sure to help people understand human behavior. But yeah, anyway, so um, the expulsion of chemicals over there acts like a stimulant feeder. It's like a spark in a powder keg. So those chemicals are like sparks in a powder keg. So, um, and but stimulants tear up the nerves and require careful time dosing. They do. Mixing stimulant neurotropics with non-stimulant neurotropics, even those found in some foods, can bring serious results with minimal effort, and that's true. Um, Generally, for good character development, you want smaller, more energy-packed meals. You don't want a full stomach. You don't. Um, though there are some people who are very infirm that might need to eat a little bit heavier, work a little bit harder, and stuff. Um, yeah. What they don't tell you about having very dominant musculature is that it always wants to move, and that disrupts a lot of mental processes. So this is talking about muscularity and stuff. Disrupts a lot of mental processes by pushing on a lot of nerves. A very strong brain can compose and organize muscles that otherwise just fire violently. Muscular people, while hating sleep, need to get to bed early and wake up at a natural time so they don't undermine themselves and stuff. They do. It takes muscle to get yourself across anything, to get your mind to cut through the world and make results. Gives you penetration of mind. But a muscular person does not always understand that most of what they do is in their head, and that their head needs to be just a tad bit faster than their body when they think on their feet and stuff. Musculars like to force the issue more often than is necessary. They try to answer things by changing things, and so they answer things with their fists and stuff, which is a bad habit. It creates a lazy mind, and so they end up grabbing at air. Um, So what they don't tell you about a highly developed skeleton is that it makes you lazy and stiff. But when you give it a highly powerful brain, it can give it life. See that? Yeah. For your senses to develop introspectively, you need to introspect. You need different kinds of physical activity to understand how to better vary material, including the material of ideas. Stimulation is foundational to development. Yeah. Using is one way of getting stimulation, like, using your hand, whatever. The genes you were born with, in the colloquial rather than the literal sense, do not matter one damn. Everyone is just a few moves away from being at the top. Don't listen to the bullshit, okay? It's true. Everyone is just a few moves away from being at the top, okay? You still need psychological guidance to access your whole inner mind at a conscious, controllable level. If it isn't yourself, you still need to talk to somebody, listen to somebody, or read from somebody that will give you the words to unlock those areas of your life that have what you need that will make you happier, okay? Good diet isn't just about smaller, more energy-packed meals, though. It is about knowing all the kinds of plants, mushrooms, nuts, etc. that have the chemicals you need, and any chemical you need can be eaten from diet. But meds work for a lot of people as a temporary holdover too. There's many different ways to, like food, medicine. You should let food be your medicine and medicine be your food, right? But there's many ways to take medicine and stuff. There's topical injections and everything about it. So like, for people with who don't really have a working GI tract and stuff, it's going to be different for you. But this doesn't work well if you eat junk or chemically processed food. Junk food fouls your blood, your stomach, etc., with all kinds of gunk, adhesives, blockers, mutagens, poisons, toxins, sedatives, deliriants, carcinogens, free radicals, addlers, stupefiers, etc. And it pays to know everything about how your body works to keep this stuff out of your body. Poor and working class people in this respect are screwed. They can't afford purified, energy-packed, youth-preserving diets. They also don't sleep very well. But now you understand why I research economics, because I want to help these people, okay? Sometimes your outer character doesn't change at all, but you can learn better by learning different, learning less, or learning more. And you're totally different after that. This is why people who adapt are the winners. They don't fight the way things are when they know the game is not in their favor, okay? And let's talk about what goes beyond character, because again, it's not all about character and stuff. Let's talk about how your glandular dominance affects your personality, okay? Here we have what's called the thyroid body type. and stuff. Um, they don't have a consistent appearance, as you can see, but it definitely changes the way the brain works and stuff. You know, people who have a strong thyroid, intellectual, and sensory, which makes sense and stuff, because the thyroid hormones, T3 and T4 and stuff, protect the number of brain cells and grow more brain cells. Um, T4, I believe, though, is associated with reducing with apoptosis in the cell. So I think it's actually T3 that raises it, your brain cell number. Um, they're responsible, blah blah blah. Okay, so for men and women, as you can see, it differs and stuff. Um, See, a woman's adrenal body type doesn't have nearly as much muscle as a male's adrenaline body type and stuff. It's like a stark difference beyond anything that can be explained by, the practical bro science and stuff. And um, that could be a reaction with estrogen and stuff. Though I would never tell a woman to block estrogen and stuff. That can be considered as, I mean, like, not just hijacking somebody's healthcare plan, but it can do some serious damage. Um, they gain weight easily. This is interesting because male adrenal types don't. They tend to be leaner. It says here the adrenals. I mean, in another piece of literature, said the adrenals tend to have more androgen sensitivity and stuff. Um, a balanced body type. So basically, everything is balanced here. You have defined waist, short legs with a long waist, or long legs with a short waist and stuff. Due to blending with thighs, your buttocks appear flat. Your initial weight is lower body. Needs predictability and harmony. You're light and personable on the outside, personable, but slow to trust others with your emotions. You find it hard to delegate because you feel it's faster, more efficient to handle tasks yourself. Um, Basically, when you're balanced, you could do anything. Unsupported foods for balanced body type: lamb, ham, bacon. Yeah, meat's not good for you. Rotation and variety of foods is essential. I don't know. I don't think so. Once you're on the right stuff, you don't really need to get anything else. Um, Grain and vegetables for dinner is overly specific. Um, Strive for balance in all areas of your life and stuff. Um, Women's blood body type. People who are blood body types tend to think they're supposed to be the center of attention and everything. And I think if we go to the men and stuff, it might say something about that. Deny the existence of problems much more than other people do. There you go. To gain the approval of others, I often overcommit. There you go and stuff. It's the pick me's. Um, yeah, you don't really want to be this type of a person. The brain body types. Here we go. The kings stuff. Brain body types. They rock. Um, Prominent forehead. Blah blah. Easily grasp abstract and conceptual realities. There you go. There you go. My apprehension about doing something wrong can lead me into passiveness or indecision. Doesn't need to be a bad thing. Yeah, this it's not a bad one. The eye body type. I think this is overly specific, honestly. Eye body type might as well be the brain body type because eyes are outgrowth of the brain, but whatever. Um, Gallbladder body type, not really the best. Gonadal body type, these people rock and stuff. You know, they're getting all the chicks, and they have great memories and everything. Let's talk about this. Physically attractive, highly emotional and physically expressive. Not necessarily a good thing. Um, I don't handle stress well. Blah blah blah. In social settings, they bring out the best in others with a special ability to recognize and appreciate the feelings of others and offer emotional support. More people-oriented and task-oriented. Um, tired or stressed, are difficulty focusing or concentrating. Highly verbal and sensitive emotions of others. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, these are great people, and they're winners. Yeah, they tend to have social and sexual intelligence. Um, the gonadal body types are like more like a gender psychology and stuff. They do the things that are more biologically stereotypical um two two genders, male and female and stuff. You know, the men are very masculine and stuff, and I guess the adrenal men are too. Um, but they're just less virilized and stuff. Um, the the women are very feminine in their psychology and everything. Hard body type, garbage. Hypothalamus, blah blah blah. Single-minded, prefer to stick with a project until completed. Nice, without switching. That's good. Intestinal body type. While my initial response to life is emotional, I generally don't trust my emotions, so I gather as much information as possible to make a logical decision. So I gather as much information as possible in order to make a logical decision. New experiences are vital to me. They're being generous. Um, they're really being generous over here and being very nice to these very troublesome people. Um, pictures of women's kidney body type, that doesn't make any sense. Liver body type, nice. In another analysis of biotype systems, um, it was the the balanced people are the ones that have the strong liver, you know. But the liver is great because it keeps toxins out of the body and stuff. Definitely don't mess with your liver. Don't drink alcohol with pills. Don't drink alcohol and stuff. Keep your keep don't expose yourself to poison and stuff like that. You know. Um, and eat healthy fruit. Wash the pesticide off of it. Rinse it off and eat it. So powers up your liver. Fructose powers up your liver. Okay. Um, lung body type. I mean, for people who can medically eat fruit, you know. Um, lung body type. Yeah. I mean, these people have a lot of energy. That's an asset to have. You definitely want good lungs, for sure. The people with a strong furnace do very well in life. Again, you just have to be careful not to scatter your brain. The lymph body type, nice, nice. But you see, with a lot of lymphatic activity, you might have a lot of immune activity, you know. So, yeah, there's that. If the body's immune system is always elevated and stuff, it can mess with your concentration, psychology and stuff. Um, Medulla body type. Let's see. Easily build muscle mass with exercise. I don't know. Do the males with medulla body types have a lot of muscles? I don't. I want to see if this website sticks to its own premise. Nope. Some of the least muscled ones and stuff. Oh well. Um, nervous system body type. Here we go. These people are intelligent. That's good. More like the classic ectomorphs, you know. Um, this pancreas type here has quite a well-developed head, or just sits very high. Skin body type. See, I mean, this is kind of nuts. Stomach body type. Here we go. That's significant and stuff. Um, so uh, I'm sure they're extremely generous with this one. I prefer to intellectually grasp a situation before taking action. That's funny. Nah, listen, the stomach runs opposite to the brain. I'm sorry, it just does. Thalamus body type. Thymus. Okay, the thymus people tend to be creative. From somebody who kind of did a better study here. Thyroid body type. Okay, there's another intelligent type here. So there's a lot of good types, you know. Thyroid, thymus, blah 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 blah. Pituitary. Oh, pituitary types rock. They have great memory and great communication skills. Allegedly, they have very high sex drive too, but I guess it's because the pituitary gland fires all the hormones and it picks the ones that work the best. Um, nervous system is another good one. Um, I guess lymph, uh, lung and liver for sure. Uh, yeah, kidney for sure. Kidney, yeah, strong kidneys is good. Um, gonadic, yeah, yeah. Um, gallbladder, no, not gallbladder. Brain, here we go. I guess it's the best one. Stuff, but she's I think more gonadic than brain type and stuff because I mean just look at her and this one too, and this one too, and so and this one too, and so like they're very estrogen dominant, you know. Um, the blood body type here, balance body type. I would say balance is the best one, because they don't have the chemical imbalances that make a person burn out. That's the thing. But yeah, there's that.